Have you ever had someone suddenly go cold on you? One day they're your friend, your confidant, and the next you're being avoided, side eyed, or outright blamed for something you didn't do? You're left wondering, what happened? What did I miss? It feels like a betrayal, and it is, but it's not random, and it's not just miscommunication. It's a playbook. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 5-phase tactical playbook that manipulators use to execute triangulation. You'll learn exactly how they gather intelligence, engineer betrayal, and create chaos. I made this video so that you can recognize the signs early and protect yourself. Now first, for those of you who are new to my channel, I'm Shanine and welcome to Toxicity is Not Your Destiny. This is part 2 of my deep dive series on triangulation. In the first video, I covered what triangulation is and the 5 major types. So if you haven't seen that video yet, you can click it by clicking on the link in the top corner. In this video, I'm going deeper. We're going to expose the enemy's tactical steps, how manipulators systematically turn people against you and isolate you. And this isn't theory, it's real, it's detailed. And by the end of this video, you'll be able to see it coming from a mile away. If you're ready to get equipped, subscribe to my channel and let's begin. So, how do manipulators do it? How do they turn people against you with such precision? First, let me give you the core definition. Triangulation is a system of control where someone manages relationships and information so they never have to engage in direct accountability. It's a 5-phase process, and you want to learn these phases so you can recognize them instantly. Phase 1. The intelligence gathering phase. Before a manipulator can triangulate, they need data, and they are master collectors. They come across as your biggest supporter. They offer empathy. They remember every detail you share. But this isn't just friendship. They are intentionally creating an environment of false closeness to get you to overshare. You feel safe, but you're actually being assessed. You have to understand this critical distinction. They're not listening to connect, they're listening to collect. And here's what they're collecting: your insecurities, what makes you feel small, unseen, or ashamed, your grievances, what frustrates you, what annoys you, your secrets, what have you said in private thinking it was safe. And here's the power dynamic. You've revealed everything. They've revealed nothing. They become the trusted vault everyone confides in. Let me give you an example based on a pattern that I've seen many times. We'll call her April. April was going through a rough patch in her marriage and opened up to her sister-in-law, who seemed so supportive. But later, she found out her sister-in-law had shared those details with her husband's entire family, twisting her words, questioning her character. And that's when she realized her sister-in-law wasn't a confidant. She was an informant. You thought you had a safe space, but they were stockpiling your vulnerability as ammunition. In this kind of situation, the worst part isn't just the betrayal, it's the confusion. People in April's position keep asking themselves, how did I miss this? How could I have been so blind? But they weren't blind. They were targeted. Who benefits from this arrangement? The manipulator. They control all the information while you're kept in the dark about what they're really doing with it. Here's the second phase, the exploitation phase. Once they have the intelligence, they move on to exploitation. This is where they identify what I call a grievance wound. This is a small existing point of friction between two people. Maybe you, the target, are a little messy, and your roommate, the ally, is a neat freak. The manipulator sees this wound and pokes at it. They'll go to the ally and say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe how messy they are. It must be so hard for you to live like this. You're so patient." Do you notice what they're doing? They're validating the ally's frustration. They're creating an us versus them bond and makes the ally feel completely understood. And that's when the ally opens up and starts to vent, giving the manipulator even more ammunition. The ally doesn't realize they're being recruited. They think they're being understood. This is where a pattern I've seen repeatedly fits perfectly. Let's call her Maria. Her mother-in-law saw the small grievance wound that Maria's husband was frustrated that she worked long hours, and she exploited it, turning a minor frustration into a major marital issue. The ally feels relief. Finally, someone understands. But the target has no idea that ground is being prepared for their betrayal. And who benefits from this arrangement? It's the manipulator. They're positioning themselves as the trusted insider with both you and the ally while keeping you both from talking directly to each other. And here's the third phase, the strategic disclosure phase. This is where the betrayal begins. The manipulator takes everything the ally just said and goes directly to the target. They take something you shared in confidence and repeat it as an accusation, and the full story never gets told. They cherry pick the worst parts, add their own negative interpretation, and position themselves as the reluctant, heroic messenger. I hate to be the one to tell you this, but as your friend, I thought you should know what people are saying about you behind your back. Scripture says the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And this phase does all three. It steals your peace, kills your trust, and destroys the relationship. You feel blindsided, humiliated, and suddenly unsure of everything you thought you knew about this relationship. And this isn't just drama. It's a system of control. Who benefits from this arrangement? Again, the manipulator. They control what each person knows about the other, and they avoid any accountability for stirring up the conflict. Here's phase 4, the chaos phase. Now the chaos erupts. The target feels betrayed, the ally feels exposed, and the manipulator sits in the middle playing innocent. Everyone is suspicious of each other. No one knows who to trust. I've seen this pattern destroy relationships. In one case, a woman was furious at her friend for betraying her, only to find out later the manipulator had twisted both sides of the story. It cost them a 15-year friendship. The manipulator now controls the flow of information between the target and the ally, who are no longer speaking to each other directly. They position themselves as the only trusted translator of reality. They have successfully created chaos and positioned themselves as the center of the universe. You're exhausted, confused, and starting to wonder if maybe you are the problem. Who benefits from this arrangement? The manipulator. They're the only one with access to both sides, and they use that position to maintain power. Phase 5 is the maintenance phase. Triangulation isn't a one-time event. It's a system that must be maintained. The manipulator will now work to keep the triangle going by feeding misinformation to both sides, escalating tensions, and blocking direct communication. I've seen this pattern play out in families where siblings don't speak to one another for over a decade, all because a parent or another family member was feeding different versions of the same story, and you feel trapped in a nightmare where the same painful patterns keep repeating, and you can't figure out why. The ultimate goal here is control without accountability, but the deepest reason they do this is to run from their own flaws. Direct communication requires honesty and risk of being held accountable. For a manipulator, that accountability feels like a death sentence. Triangulation allows them to control the story, project their issues onto you, and never have to look in the mirror. Why does this devastating strategy work so well, and why do smart people fall for it? Manipulators don't create new wounds. They exploit normal human needs for connection and validation. When the manipulator validates our frustrations, we feel seen. We don't realize we're being set up. Second, it creates confusion and self-doubt. God is not a God of confusion, but of peace. So when confusion reigns, we know who's behind it. This playbook works because it's designed to control through confusion. Third, it isolates the target. Once the triangle is in place, the target feels like they can't trust anyone. They pull away from relationships, which is exactly what the manipulator wants. And fourth, it gives them a built in excuse. If they're ever confronted, they can say, I was just trying to help. I had no idea it would cause this much drama. They build an escape hatch into the very structure of the betrayal, allowing them to play the victim and make you look like the unreasonable person. So, how do you know where you are in this playbook? Phase 1 or 2, you're venting and being encouraged to vent more. Phase 3, you're hearing hurtful things secondhand. Phase 4, you're arguing through a third person. And phase 5, the same person is always in the middle. So that is the 5-phase playbook that manipulators use to systematically turn people against you. It is not random. It is a calculated strategy. Remember, triangulation is a system of control where someone manages relationships and information so they never have to engage in direct accountability. Even Jesus was triangulated. The Pharisees used the crowds to pressure Pilate, and Pilate used the crowds to avoid responsibility. The religious leaders twisted Jesus' words and spread lies to turn people against him. If it happened to him, it's not a sign of your weakness. It's a sign of the enemy's ancient strategy. And a word of warning, when you start to recognize this playbook and refuse to participate, the manipulator will often escalate. They may accuse you of being divisive, unsupportive, or unforgiving. This is called an extinction burst. It's the desperate flailing of a manipulator who feels their control slipping. Think back to Maria's mother-in-law. If Maria and her husband started talking directly and refused to discuss their marriage with their mother-in-law, the mother-in-law wouldn't just give up. She would have an extinction burst. She might call other family members and say, I'm so worried. Maria is isolating my son from the family. She won't let me talk to him anymore. She would create a new triangle to punish them for breaking the first one. So when you see this, don't be discouraged. It's confirmation that you're breaking the system. An extinction burst doesn't mean you confront recklessly. It means you prepare wisely. So now that you know the playbook, you need God's battle plan. In this final video series, we're going to walk through God's complete battle plan to dismantle triangulation. We're going to cover 7 spiritual and practical tools to shut this down, restore clarity, and rebuild trust. So hit subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss this video. Until then, which of these 5 phases have you lived through? Was it intelligence gathering, strategic disclosure? I'd love to hear in the comments section. Your story may help someone else recognize the pattern. Remember, you don't have to be a pawn in their game. You don't have to earn peace by staying silent, because toxicity is not your destiny. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.